I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Raising the debt ceilings does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy.
I know words. I have the best words. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Peddling Fiction Podcast. I am your host, the voice and soul of so-called fiction, Johnny Profita. And back with me, of course, my better half, the one and only, Justin Hillbilly Boy Campbell. How you doing over there, Hillbilly Land? Sans Internet.
Not too bad. It's actually been like unseasonably warm. It got up to 70 yesterday. I think it's supposed to be in the 60s today. It was in the 60s on Sunday. So we have gone from like below 20 and even single digits for 2 straight weeks to now like 60s and 70s. If you don't like the weather in the Midwest, just hang around for a couple days. It will change drastically. And you're not going to like that either because now everything's a giant like soggy mess because all the snow and ice and everything just melted. And so like I can't even walk across the yard from the house to the garage without sinking in the yard. It's awful. Lots of fun.
Yeah, I was talking to my parents yesterday. They're saying, it's really nice here. It's really warm for this time of year. Yeah. Yeah. They're getting a bunch of rain over there instead of like 8 inches of snow, just a bunch of rain. Gotta say, yeah, I don't miss it. Certainly don't miss it. It's, high 70s, low 80s and sunny. A little chilly here. So sometimes I have to put socks on.
You know, I mean, at least on a positive note, we don't have earthquake season here, though. That's
true. Yeah. Yep, there's no earthquake season, and there's no unexpected one that happened a couple weeks ago. That was not cool. Yeah, I expected in September. I'm like somewhat mentally prepared for things to just start falling around me in September, assuming I'm here. But yeah, when that shit happens in January, that's bullshit, man. You can't be doing that here. Can't be pulling that shit here. But yeah. Guess there was a lot of. Is California still on fire? If they put those fires out? Oh, did we lose Justin? I think we lost him. I think he just froze out. Well, I'm going to assume that California's not on fire anymore. And no, we're not going to talk about that today. We have a bunch of things to get into. I guess we'll start with the one thing that I was just going to take the controls for, which as anybody who's been listening to this show for any amount of time knows that we've been following these jobs reports pretty closely. And today at, I think it was at 9 a.m. or was it 10 a.m.? I think it was 10 a.m. 10 a.m. New York time, 9 a.m. our time. We got the JOLTS report, and that is the job openings for the U.S. Yeah. 9 a.m. today. Yeah, 9 a.m. New York time. So the JOLTS report, he's back.
How did I know that would happen as soon as we would start the show? It's straight up dead now. There's no lights coming back on at all. This is fucking impressive. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
See, I wanted to live out in the middle of nowhere, but the problem with living out in the middle of nowhere is you only have one option for internet provider, and it fucking sucks.
Yep. That's where'd my screen go? There we go. So the JOLTS report, I was just going to go into that while you were out of here. Figured we'd cover that. as the job openings in the U.S. unexpectedly, it's always unexpected, isn't it? It's always unexpected when it's bad news. Craters by more than 500,000 as the wheels of the job market start to fall off. This is just some more, I don't even know if you would call this anecdotal evidence that all those job numbers we've been getting throughout the Biden administration were complete bullshit and always revised down. And now we're starting to see that the amount of jobs that are even available to people are going by the wayside. And so, yeah, it's sort of the job openings. Well, the people losing their jobs is always like a lagging indicator. And then the job openings, I guess you could say, is like more of a forward look, like, okay, yeah, these people aren't hiring anymore for the time being. And that's a pretty big miss. They said it's the second lowest print since the COVID crash. I was like, okay, that sounds about right. It feels kind of like right about where we are as a country, economically, that is. And it's perfect time. Of course, this will get blamed on Donald Trump because he's now been in office for a couple of weeks, and he's responsible for the chicken prices, the egg prices, and a 7.6 million job opening print. The expectations were for 8.156.
Watch now. Now, for the first time in 4 years, Democrats care about the price of eggs, the price of milk, and the jobs reports.
Yeah. Yes. Number of job openings in professional and business services down 225, which is a sharp reversal from the 273,000 surge last month. And remember who was in charge last month. Healthcare and social assistance down 180,000. Finance and insurance 136,000 down. Job openings increased in arts, entertainment, and recreation. Okay. Yeah. Because we don't fucking really produce anything. Did you watch the fucking, what was it, the Grammys or whatever?
I did not. I can't tell you the last time I watched a Grammys, Oscars, Emmys, Tonys, or any of those other things. I have absolutely no interest in any of that bullshit whatsoever.
Yeah. No, I couldn't care any less. I just saw Kanye's wife naked, so that was nice. I don't know what the hell's going on with those guys.
Wait, Kanye's current wife or Kim Kardashian? Because I'm pretty sure everybody's already seen Kim Kardashian naked.
Current wife, yeah, the one that he's been parading around in like ridiculously revealing outfits. She was wearing absolutely nothing. She had like a fur coat on, and then underneath it, just like a completely see-through dress, showing everything. So I don't know what that tells you as where we are as a society.
Probably not in a great spot.
Yeah, when socially you start to decline and you just have all this degenerate behavior. I couldn't imagine parading your wife around like that in public and just having her be like completely fucking naked for all the world to see. But I snuck a peek. So
any good? I mean, impressive.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
That's the thing. It's like, at least if you're gonna like parade around naked, at least be good looking. Don't
Yeah, it's pretty much the opposite of what you'd see at like the nude beaches and shit. Like, you see all these fucking disgusting fat people. The odds of you seeing a chick that looks like that just walking around naked out in public is pretty slim to none, because you don't want to give that stuff away for free. They know where their fucking bread is buttered. Anyway, as a reminder, last month there was a surge in JOLTS. Yeah. Well, how much was the surge? I don't know. It was a 2-month increase in pro services. Yeah. Thank you for the truck driving by. In November, the number of job openings was only 714,000 more than the number of unemployed workers. So, yeah, and then if you take the December number, it's like, okay, well, you only had 714,000 more jobs than unemployed people, and now you're off by 500K. Not a lot of not looking good if you're out there looking for more work. But anyway, just thought I'd mention that number came out today. Markets seem to kind of shrug it off pretty quickly, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Donald Trump's economy not off to a great start. Although the trade wars that started and ended yesterday, well, they started Sunday night, I suppose, and they ended early Monday morning. That really gave the market a nice bounce. I don't know if you saw whose fucking tweet was it. I pointed it out because this guy was like trying to talk shit about how Trump was like destroying the markets and everything, and his tweet was at like 10:15 a.m. And if you looked at a chart of like the Dow, like right at 10:15, the market turned around on a fucking dime and just ripped to the upside. Like, I actually caught a nice piece of that in the NASDAQ futures, but like, it's literally like, it was just like, okay, 10:14 and then 10:15. Like as soon as they announced that Mexico caved and they're going to send 10,000 troops to the border, it was just like, fucking massive move to the upside. And so I was joking around near the bottom.
Speaking of that and markets, there was an interesting note on that JOLTS report, the write up from Zero Hedge on that towards the end. It talks about like how to look at it and what does this mean. And it says, if Trump is trying to get the Fed to start cutting rates, then to have a bad report like this will actually spear the Fed to cut rates. So it could be some, 4D chess of we're going
to be honest about the numbers now.
Put out a really shitty report. Then that gets the Fed to cut rates. And then you get, because that's something that Trump had run on anyway, campaigned on, was getting rate cuts so that it could spur the economy going forward.
Yeah.
So
right. Well, yeah. Yeah. He's the king of debt. He loves low interest rates. So does the entire fucking stock market's completely addicted to it. And if you haven't been paying attention, last week, the Fed decided to pause on the rate cuts, which was pretty expected, I think, by the markets. And the data that had been coming out, they're like, okay, inflation's starting to kind of fucking run hot again. We're going to hold off on cutting more rates, much to the chagrin of Donald Trump. So we'll see. I think they're still around like four something, maybe 4.25. I'm not exactly sure where rates are right now. They're targeting something between like 4 and 4.5% though, I think. So historically not very high, but for the last 20 years, pretty fucking high.
Yeah, I remember when I bought my first house and getting a interest rate on a 30-year mortgage between 5 and 6.5% was actually like pretty good. Like that wasn't terrible back then, and now you talk about like a 5% interest, and like people were like, what?
Yeah. I think my first one was like 3 1/8 in 2014, and then I did refinance. What did I refinance to? Or maybe it was 3 5/8, and I refinanced to 3 1/8 or something. I almost did it again at 2.5, but it was just too big of a fucking pain in the ass to do it from Mexico during COVID. You had to like go to the fucking U.S. consulate, and it was like a 3-month fucking waiting. I was like, this is ridiculous. Leave it to the government. The government cost me, it's probably going to save me like 100 something a month in mortgage payments. So I blame the government for that. And then of course they raised my property taxes in shithole Chicago, and I told them to go fuck themselves. So got the hell out of there, which was nice. But these trade wars, the Mexico one was pretty funny. Trump put out the tweet, had a great meeting. I forget exactly how much was he throwing. Was it 25%?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a 25% tariff, Mexico. So depending, see, here's the thing. I can't tell whether or not I mean, Donald Trump's kind of taking both sides of this issue, where it's like he's saying on the one hand that like all these countries are ripping us off. You know, we have all these trade deficits and they don't pay any taxes on their they don't pay any tariffs on these exports. And so we're going to stop everybody from ripping us off and taking advantage of us, even though I completely disagree with that sentiment. But then at the same time, when they cave to his demands, he's like, okay, yeah, we'll hold off on the tariffs for a month. He's gonna put them on hold while they negotiate more terms, I guess. So it's like, well, which, you know, what do we do? Are we getting ripped off and we need to put these tariffs in for the American people, or are we just using the tariffs as a threat? And we actually don't really want to impose them because deep down we know that they would not be a good thing for the American people.
I don't know whether or not they would be a good thing, but for now, I think it is pretty clear he's exclusively at this point using them for leverage to get things he wants early on in the presidency. Whether or not that remains a long-term thing, if there are other things that he wants. But so, like, the interesting thing with this one, he was wanting Mexico and Canada to help with addressing the fentanyl crisis at the border and beefing up border security, trying to control the flow of fentanyl going across these borders. And both of them balked at it. And so he's like, all right, then you get 25% tariffs. And then initially they both said, well, then we'll put 25% tariffs back on you, except that we do have a massive inversion on the trade deficit. They are both sending a lot more stuff in than what we're sending out. So at least to Mexico and Canada, you know, we export a lot of stuff across the oceans, but not so much across the country lines here, going north and south. So it would have been detrimental to both of them to play that game. And then they agree. They cave, and especially funny was I've seen multiple posts about, well, Canada said that they were going to do this in November and December anyway. So Trump just got them to agree to the thing that they said that they were already going to do. It's like, yeah, but if you were already going to do it, then why play this dumb game? Like, why tell Trump, no, we're not going to do that if you were literally already going to do it? What I don't understand is Trudeau just that petty and retarded that's like that was what he went for, or what? Like, because if Canada was actually legitimately already planning to do all of the stuff that they agreed to do to stop this trade war thing, why didn't they just say that to begin with? Like, why fight the whole tariff battle?
Yeah, and I saw, I don't know if did I send you that article? It was probably on Zero Hedge about how like there was like pictures from these Canadian stores, like buy Canadian because the U.S. liquor is no good anyway or something. U.S. beer and liquor is no good. It's like, I don't know, dude. Who drinks fucking Canadian beer? What do we get from them? Maple syrup? What else?
Maple syrup, lumber,
oil.
Lumber. But the oil thing is really weird because it's not so much that we get oil from them as because of environmental protection standards in Canada, they shut down construction of certain pipelines that would pipe oil from the west side of Canada to the east side of Canada. So their oil actually crosses over into U.S. pipelines and then travels across the U.S. to go back into the eastern part of Canada because they shut down construction of their own pipelines that would run the oil all the way across Canada without coming into it's some weird shit going on with that. But also that part of that would give the U.S. a advantage in the trade war, because then we could just like stop them from moving their oil across from Western Canada to Eastern Canada. You could just choke off Eastern Canada and not let them have oil and heat and everything else. So then you run into some shit like what some of those countries were getting into with the whole trade war thing that was going on with Russia a couple years ago, where they were like, well, we're not buying Russian oil and we're not going to get our energy from Russia. And then you have presidents that are caving and they're like, yeah, but if we don't, then all of our people like freeze to death in the winter. So I have to choose either we have heat or we like fight this trade war with Russia. Like, so Canada would have ended up in a similar position on the oil side of stuff too. So
yeah, and I'm sure there's definitely pressure on these politicians from businesses that would be subject to these tariffs. I mean, yes, the consumer is the one that ultimately pays it, but if they're going to lose a big chunk of their business, which is sending stuff to the U.S., I'm sure they're putting pressure on their politicians to go just send some fucking troops to the border. Like, who gives a shit? Like, is that really like a big deal? Like, what else are your troops for? Like,
especially
Mexico,
Canada.
Yeah, Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. It's just like the three of us. We're not going to fight each other over anything. Like, just enforce your fucking borders. Like, that's literally all you have to do. It's like we're this one big fucking island. We got oceans on both sides, friendly neighbors to the north and south. Like, yeah, just put your troops on the border. I don't know what else to do with them. I mean, obviously, we got to go fight a bunch of fucking foreign wars and everything, but realistically, all we should be doing with our troops is protecting the borders. It's pretty simple.
Has Trump officially declared war on the cartels yet? That could be.
He signed that executive order that designated them terrorists. So there's that. I don't think that's an official declaration of war, but it certainly cleared the path for them to use some ridiculous military force. We'll see what happens. I know that's got a lot of people freaked out. I think I was talking to my aunt and uncle yesterday, and like one of their friends was like, they have a property here. They're like thinking of selling it because they're worried that like this war is gonna just escalate with the cartel or something, and it's gonna get too dangerous here. I was like, all right, I hope there's a fucking fire sale of properties. Then maybe I can buy something up on the cheap. Because the shit here is just getting ridiculous.
Well, and Trump can send all of these federal employees that aren't going to have a job. He can just send them to work the borders or to go fight the cartels. Did you see Trump has put out a buyout program for federal employees?
I saw that he put some on paid leave. I didn't see this buyout. So, God damn it, dude. How do we have to buy them out? Can't he just fucking fire everybody?
Yeah, no, I wasn't a big fan of the buyout program. So let me pull up the actual letter that got sent out to these all these federal employees. This is from the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. It's titled "Fork in the Road," and so it allows a deferred resignation. So if all of these like government employees who are being required to return to work, like actually come back to the office and do all of this stuff, if they don't want to do that, all they have to do is reply to this email that they got from their .org or .gov or military email addresses, resign, and that's it. They will officially be resigned. It will be worked out with them how much compensation they're given, and they'll basically be given until like September 30th to go the fuck away.
Yeah, so
I don't like September 30th. Like, why so long? Like, give them to the end of fucking May. 90 days is more than enough time for them to go the fuck away. But like,
that's great. So they basically get 2/3 of the year off. It's like, okay, like that's a pretty nice fucking paid vacation there. Yeah, so they'd only have to work the last quarter of the year.
Yeah,
like,
pretty well.
You know what I mean? Like, just go take a fucking vacation somewhere. Go someplace where you're fucking, because they're gonna get paychecks this entire time, right? Or they just get one lump sum.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get like basically it's like a buyout. Like, you're gonna get paid X percentage of what your pay would have been for their
vacation days and everything. They'll cash all that out. So yeah, I mean, I'd go to like fucking Thailand for a few months. And then come back when you're ready to start work at the end of September. That's crazy. Must be nice be one of these cushy fucking government employees. It's impossible to get fired. Like, even when they want to fire you, they can't. They just got to pay you to go away.
But apparently 20,000 government employees have already taken Trump up on the offer.
That's good. I hope they don't replace him with anything.
Right, and it goes through Thursday. They've got until end of business Thursday to accept, or I guess to resign, to accept the buyout. So like Friday might be an interesting show. Like Friday, we might be able to actually talk like real numbers of how many government employees decided not to come back to work under the Trump administration. He may very well cut 60 to 80,000 jobs like week 2.
That would be amazing. That would be fantastic.
There's even a line in the fork in the road email that says, if you do choose to stay, we can't guarantee that your job will still be here. Like you might decide, yeah, I'm going to stay. I'm going to keep working for the government, and we might eliminate your job anyway. But in the meantime, you have the option to quit
and get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, there's for sure. It looks like the Department of Education is next on the chopping block. So anybody working in there should be fucking taking the buyout. Anybody in any sort of DEI position should take the fucking buyout.
The problem with the Department of Education, people get we already have a teacher shortage. It's like the teacher shortage is not the problem. The problem with the Department of Education is administrative staff is like this much, and then the teachers are like this much. You need to cut 90% of the administrative staff and then hire more teachers. Like what they're wanting to do with this is cut that massive bureaucracy, that huge administrative state, because that is that's what eats up all of the Department of Education's capital. Like the reason that teachers don't get paid shit is because you have all of this administration that just gets paid like 6 figures for nothing, to do fucking nothing.
Like what needs to be administrated in this fucking school, dude? It just seems so easy to run a school to me. 1 or 2 people should be able to fucking do it. A couple janitors, like, I mean, come on, dude. This is, and I remember looking at these administrators. Yeah, they're making like $250,000 a year, crazy fucking numbers. And then it's like, that some of the teachers make like 50 grand. It's like, well, that's what we're trying to do, trying to get rid of that. So yeah, take that fucking buyout. What was the the U.S. aid, the Department of U.S. aid? That's being well, again, dude, they're just not really completely getting rid of anything. What did they rolled it into the State Department, I think. Is that what they did?
Yeah, something like that. I need to find
So it's just like, dude, can we just actually fucking eliminate something for one? Just like, no, it's gone. No más. Afuera. But no, it's like, we'll get rid of a lot of it, but then we'll roll it into this and it'll still kind of exist. And it's better than nothing. It's certainly better than nothing, but it's not exactly going Javier Milei on everything and getting rid of like 18 fucking departments. That doesn't seem to be in the cards. But if he can actually get rid of the Department of Education, that'd be a really nice big step in the right direction. Let's see, what else? Did he get rid of something else too? No.
Well, yeah, you were talking about the U.S. aid thing. That's in the works. They sent out emails to all of the employees telling them stay home and lock the doors to the headquarters. What was it? Musk tweeted, "We spent the weekend feeding U.S. aid into the wood chipper. Could have gone to some great parties and did that instead." So like they are working on cutting out a lot of this stuff. Yeah, there was a bunch of DEI programs and stuff like that have been getting eliminated. Here's the one that you had sent an email on, or not an email, a link on. Did you mean trains? The State Department scrubs transgenderism out of existence. President Trump's purge of DEI nonsense from government departments continues to proceed full steam ahead, with the term trans being completely wiped from the State Department website. This is fucking hilarious. If you go to travel.state.gov and apparently search for trans, it says, "Did you mean trains?"
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, there's shit like that they're doing that's just it's fucking hilarious and like somewhat petty and just absolutely fucking fantastic to watch happen. Like, and people are just absolutely freaking out about this. Oh, we got to keep the trans on there. I just sent you Ilhan Omar is freaking out about us canceling all this US aid that's been going out. I mean, this US aid stuff, it's such a fucking racket. We just had that. I don't know if you saw that interview with Zelensky where he just came out and said, "Oh yeah, like we're missing basically $100 billion of what the U.S. is claiming they've sent us."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so yeah, they said they sent. We're saying we've sent 177 billion, and he's saying he only got 77 billion or something like that.
I think he said 72.
72. Okay, beg your pardon. And
yeah.
There's no accountability. The Pentagon's failing these fucking audits left and right. Hundreds of billions of dollars go missing, and we're supposed to keep this shit going. USA, they're accountable to nobody. Nobody knows where any of this money's going. It's just lining the pockets of politicians overseas. It's like Ron Paul always said.
Remember the thing a couple years ago where it's like the Air Force can't explain why it spent $12,000 on a cup of coffee? Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah. Because somebody wanted to pocket $11,996. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, and they just get away with it. And then when the second you try to get rid of it, you got fucking people like this. Go ahead and let's see what she has to say. I haven't even listened to this yet. I just figured it'd be
really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. When you gut the Constitution and you install yourself as the sole power, that is how dictators are made. What Trump...
For the record, U.S. aid and most of these programs and all of this bullshit are nowhere to be found in the Constitution. You're not gutting the Constitution. You're actually honoring the Constitution by not doing all of this bullshit. But that's...
I was going to point. I was like, yeah, please show me in the Constitution where the federal government is authorized to steal money from you and me and give it to governments overseas. I'd love to see that clause.
Yeah, let's see the constitutional amendment for that one.
And yeah, Elon and all of their cronies are trying to do is take away the constitutional power of Congress. We get to decide. We have the power of the purse. We get to decide where money is allocated, and it's the executive's power to make sure that that money gets to where it needs to get. When we talk about civil servants being let go, what we are talking about is not saving money. It's essentially saying they can get paid while they're home and their work doesn't get done on behalf of the American people. It is us, taxpayers, who are being ripped off. It is us, taxpayers, who are not getting the resources that we paid into. So I ask the American people, do you want people at home and getting a paycheck and not providing services to you? The answer is no. Do you want the executive making the only decisions in this country, or do you want the elected representatives that you send to Washington making those policies?
Okay, pause it right there.
Is she arguing in favor of Trump's making federal employees come back to work thing?
Well, it sounds like she's sort of in favor of that. Me personally, no, I don't want them back at work, and I don't want them at home earning a paycheck for doing nothing. They're going to do nothing either way. I at least want them to have to haul their ass into the fucking office every day. That's the least you can fucking do for a goddamn government paycheck. But since you're not doing anything anyway, no, I want you at home not collecting a paycheck. I want you fucking fired. You're all a bunch of leeches. Worthless fucking leeches. You produce nothing. This chick doesn't pay any fucking taxes. You're collecting a government salary. You're not paying any taxes from that. They're just paying you a little less than they would have from other people's tax revenue. Unbelievable. Okay, let's see.
I am exceptionally upset about U.S. aid.
Yeah.
I lived in a refugee camp for 4 years as a child surviving civil war. It is the essential programs that U.S. aid provided that kept my family and I fed and safe. It is the resources that so many people around the world rely on. And it is our soft power. Oftentimes, people interact with our country through the military. That does not create love for us, and it certainly does not keep us safe. When the world...
Yeah.
I mean, why are we providing aid for, like, I get it if you're talking about, like, the countries that we actively have military there, carpet bombing and destroying them. But like some of these countries that have their own like civil wars going on and all this other shit that like internal strife that they have going on, or, just the fact that the Middle East has been trying to kill each other for literally the entirety of human history. Like, why is it our job to take care of any of these fucking people? Like,
right. No, I love her. I don't think she's making as strong of an argument as she thinks she is when she's saying that, her and her family and her were like dependent on this foreign aid. Imagine where we would be today if we hadn't fucking provided for her and her family with all this aid.
This is the greatest response to that email or to that video. It's like, who's going to supply the head choppers with tents now? Here's wow. Yes, we need you. We need all the U.S. aid. Yes, all of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, for those of you just listening, there's a couple of fucking terrorists, one holding a rocket launcher, standing in a tent that's emblazoned with U.S. aid insignia.
All over.
It's like, I mean, how many more of these fucking money laundering schemes? How many more fucking terrorists do we have to send money to? Remember during COVID, like all these PPP loans were going overseas too? Like there's just so much fraud in this. Nobody knows where any trillions of dollars have gone missing. And we're just supposed to be like, oh, but a little Ilhan Omar needs fucking food because they're refugees. I don't know. Personally, I could do without Ilhan Omar. If she wasn't around, I don't think I'd lose much sleep. So again, not a great fucking case for aid.
Well, and like Tulsi Gabbard talked about in her entire confirmation hearing the other day, like we have been sending guns and aid and money and all of this stuff to literally fund terrorists. Like that's what this stuff is going for. They pretend that they're refugees that they need it, and then they take all of this stuff that we're sending and use it for terrorism.
Yeah.
And that's not in the cases where it's just directly like FBI and CIA giving money literally to Al-Qaeda.
Yes. And then, I mean, there's a third element to this too, where we just supply them with a bunch of old fucking weapons and tanks and everything like that. And then we just leave it behind for the terrorists to take after we leave. There's that. So the military industrial complex loves this because they get to sell the government a bunch of overpriced junk that they don't want anymore. And then we send that to Ukraine, claim that we're sending them $177 billion worth of stuff, when really you probably could have gotten it for a fraction of that in a free market of weapons.
And I mean, we already knew that billions of dollars were not actually making it where they were supposed to be going with the whole Ukraine thing, because what was it? So the whole thing kicked off in February of 2022. I believe it was December of 2022 when we started talking about Ukrainian oligarchs who were buying ski resorts in fucking
Switzerland or some shit. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
it must
already
be
knew the
nice.
money wasn't going where it was supposed to go.
Yeah, yeah, they're out on fucking yachts somewhere while the plebs in fucking Ukraine get blown to smithereens. Yeah, it's nice. And yeah, everybody in the U.S. government gets to line their pockets, and then you try to take a little bit of it away. They're not even getting rid of the whole thing. They're rolling it into the fucking State Department. And then you get the Ilhan Omars of the world just crying and trying to tug at your heartstrings. Yeah, no, sorry, done. We're broke. We don't have any fucking money. I don't know if you guys have looked at our balance sheet lately as a country. It's not looking good. 36 trillion in the hole, and that's just the bonded debt. That's, let alone the promises that they've made to the American people, and that's hundreds of trillions of dollars that they've promised to pay. So yeah, we should not be giving countries it's another tool that they use too. It's like, okay, we'll give you this aid, and then we try to get them to fucking do things that we want. We'll threaten to take the aid away. It's like, yeah, just get rid of the fucking aid. There's no, again, dude, she's talking about the Constitution. It's just, no, the government cannot fucking take money from taxpayers and give it to other countries. It's not part of their fucking duties. And that's part of Congress's duty. You don't just get to do anything you want with this fucking money. They're not even supposed to be able to like loan it out to Americans. Yeah. They can borrow money from Americans. That's how they issue, you know, treasury bills and treasury bonds and things like that. They can do that, but they can't loan it. There's no authorization to do that either.
And all of the U.S. aid, if there's things that we want these countries to do, that instead of like threatening to cut off their aid, we end the aid, ask them to do it. If they don't do it, threaten them with tariffs. If they still don't do it, then obviously they're not somebody we should be fucking with. If the tariff, you know, if putting a tariff on them would actually have an effect, because clearly we don't do trade or business with them that's significant to be important. So, okay, move on. Next. Like quit fucking with leeches across the globe that only take our money and don't provide us any. What do we get from fucking Syria or Iraq or any of this? Like,
yeah, that we couldn't. I mean, we're gonna, you know, flex our fucking muscles anyway. It's like, why do we go through this formality of just giving them a bunch of money that we don't have? It's so I just looked up their budget for fiscal year 2025. U.S. aid is $42.8 billion.
Man, but obviously the billionaires are the problem. Like, how much of that?
I'm old enough to remember that $42.8 billion would almost solve world hunger.
Right.
I'm surprised we haven't done it by now.
If U.S. aid has a $40 billion budget every year, why the fuck hasn't world hunger been solved? What's going on here?
Yeah, and just. I don't know, dude. Has anybody seen any results other than Ilhan Omar? Like, yeah, I get that she loves foreign aid, but like just the average American person that's looking at this be like, yo, what the fuck, man? They're spending all of this money on all kinds of things. We don't see any of it. Wait till I hope a fucking 10 million fucking people quit the government by Friday. Watch. You won't notice a goddamn difference in your day-to-day life. Nothing will change. Absolutely nothing. You won't lose out to any services. You're not going to miss out on anything. You'll get the same shitty government service you've always gotten, regardless of how many people work there. Like there's just no results ever. So why is there always this freak out every time we try to get rid of something?
I mean, hell, if we can get a handful of female Black Hawk pilots to resign, we might have fewer plane crashes.
Dude, I mean, we called this on the last show. I didn't have any proof, but you know, the spidey sense is just like, yeah, no, dude, you're not just flying into fucking jets. I'm sorry. I know it's difficult to fly helicopters, but come on, this had to have something to do with DEI. It just had to.
The U.S. Army Public Affairs Office confirmed that 28-year-old Captain Rebecca M. Lobach was the pilot of the Black Hawk helicopter that collided with a regional American Airlines passenger jet near Ronald Reagan National Airport on Wednesday night.
Yeah. So a woman was flying the helicopter. Nothing against women, but I'm just saying, like, when it comes to operating machinery, 99 times out of 100, I'm taking a dude to do it, especially like a fucking plane or a helicopter. Like, if something goes wrong, I feel like a man would have a much better constitution in one of those situations. He wouldn't just start crying and freaking out.
So after the crash, they identified the other two officers who were on the helicopter, but at the request of the family, the name of the third soldier was not to be released, and then it got leaked. I mean, was it at the request of the family, or was it at the request of like everybody in the DEI departments in the military? They're like, fuck. I think I saw a thing that said she had roundabout 500 hours of flight experience, which, according to a lot of the like people who were commenting on it that are pilots of different degrees,
doesn't sound like that much to me.
Yeah, they said 500 is objectively very low.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, like,
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's actually been verified, but that's what I was seeing going around on this.
Okay, yeah, like a buddy of mine got his captain's license to drive boats, and I'm trying to think, like, I don't know how many hours he needed for that. I don't think it was 500, but like, it wasn't that much less. It's like, and that's just to drive boats around in the fucking ocean. This is, I mean, come on, dude. Stereotypes, I always say, are stereotypes for a reason. And I was joking around on Twitter about learning how to parallel park before you take the fucking Black Hawk for a spin. Because this is ridiculous. Dude, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's cartoonish, man. Anybody could have fucking seen this coming. You start putting a bunch of women behind these fucking choppers. Like, why? Why are they there? Are you honestly telling me that there were no guys that could have flown that thing better?
Well, I mean, what was the country that had their first boat captain, like captain of this big military ship, and it sank? Like,
yeah, I don't even know why they want to do it. Why do women want to fly fucking helicopters? Like, just go be a woman. Like, there's plenty of things that women are good at. It's just flying fucking Black Hawk helicopters is not one of them.
Right, driving cars, they're not even good at that. Why would we give them something bigger than a car, like a Black Hawk helicopter or a fucking warship? Like, why?
Yeah, no, dude, it's because of this DEI push. It's absolutely ridiculous, dude. And now, how many people are dead? 66 other people are dead now because of this. And I mean, that is tragic. I'm not trying to make light of this. Like, this is the inevitable result of retarded DEI policies. I'm sorry, dude. And pretending that women are as good as men at doing manly fucking things is ridiculous, dude. It's objectively false. If you were going to go up in a helicopter, ask any woman going up in a helicopter if they want some woman flying it or they want some fucking dude flying it. The exact same amount of experience, the exact same amount of time. They're both like, same aptitude and everything. But dude, men have just innate fucking motor skills that women do not have. It's been, in my mind, it's, an evolutionary thing. Peripheral vision and things like that, just from thousands of years of having to hunt animals and do things like that while women were, taking care of the home and cooking and watching the kids and everything like that. They're very good with things that are right in front of their face. They're not so good with peripheral vision things and spatial orientation. It's a fucking fact, dude. They've tested this. I'm not just saying this off the top of my head, but then you just have every real world example of it. And yes, okay, yeah, Danica Patrick could drive a car pretty well. better than me. Yeah, there's always an exception. The exception doesn't disprove the rule.
How many championships did she win, though?
I don't know. The one,
right? Again, it's like even in something like that, driving, there's still a huge difference between men and women. Where like she has won a race here and there, but she hasn't won any championships or anything like that. Like, and I think most of her, because she started out in like the IndyCar circuit, and most of her IndyCar circuit was like, I don't think it was so much she was winning as she was like a face and a personality, and then she bumped up to racing NASCAR, and she won some races, but like she was never competing for the NASCAR like championships or anything like that. Like she wasn't a cup champion finalist or anything like that. It's like, yeah, did pretty well for a woman. Whenever you have to put the caveat for a woman, that's when you're about to get stabbed. Like you got to watch out, right? Yeah, because they're about to stab for you. I'm sorry, man. Like, show me another time a helicopter crashed into a fucking jet that was landing. Has that ever happened before? Well, you know who has learned from all of this and seems to be moving away from the DEI nonsense and bullshit? The DNC. The highly inclusive DNC chooses a white man to save the party. In a bold move, the Democrats elect this white dude to be the DNC chair. They also, for one of the vice chairs, they elected David Hogg. David fucking Hogg was elected as one of the vice chairs. So, in other words, their ability to judge talent has not gotten any better. David Hogg is an insufferable retard. That guy, what was his name? Kenneth something? Ken Martin. He is like, he's connected to fucking Tim Walz somehow, isn't he? Weren't they like, he was like a mentor or some shit? Oh, that would be perfect if that's true. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I think they're like I think Tim Walz like looks up to him or something. I forget where I read that. It might have been a joke, but it's just like, yeah, here's like just another fucking run-of-the-mill, vanilla, fucking boring white dude for the party that claims to care about race and gender and intersectionality and all this stuff. And then you have David Hogg. Well, you got white dude and then you got David Hogg, but there's 3 vice chair positions, and they have a lot of fucking rules for how they have to go about picking all 3 of them. Here. Is that a dance competition?
Unless they indicated otherwise on their nominees among 7 offices: treasurer, secretary, national finance chair, and vice chair for civic engagement and voter participation, and the 3 at-large vice chairs. Our rules specify that when we have a gender non-binary candidate or officer, the non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced. With the results of the previous 4 elections, our elected officers are currently 2 male and 2 female. In order to be gender balanced, we must elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender. So again, this is what we have to do for this vice chair race. We have to elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender. To ensure our process of unbalanced female and non-binary candidates, we conferred with our RBC co-chair, our LGBT caucus co-chair, and others to ensure that the process is inclusive and meets the gender balance requirements in our rules. To do this, our process will be slightly different than the one outlined to you earlier this week, but I hope you will see that in practice it is simple and transparent. As we must elect a candidate of any gender as well as 1 male and 1 female vice chair, we will first ask members to elect a candidate of any gender on the first ballot. Any candidate, male, female, and non-binary, can be elected on that ballot. After a candidate is elected on the first ballot, we'll have 1 officer of the 3 So we will now. So then we will know which position is filled of the one male, one female, and one vice chair of any gender.
Got that? It's about as clear as mud. It sounds to me like you're going to have one male, one female, and another male. And that's not going to be balanced. Like one of any other gender. Okay, so that's male or female. Oh my God, dude. That guy spent 8 minutes rereading the exact same thing over and over again. It still doesn't make any sense.
And everybody in the audience is like, so what the fuck are we doing? Who are we supposed to vote for? Somebody just put a black woman up there so we know this is the right candidate. Why are we going through all this shit?
Oh my God. Well, dude, there's just there cannot be a world 4 years from now where David Hogg and that other guy are responsible for taking back the fucking presidency.
Oh fuck, I found it. I had to scroll down a little bit. I stopped scrolling too soon. Oh, Ken Martin was
life coach. Yeah.
He was a life coach.
I knew I saw it somewhere. It was on Twitter. I was in the article. Yeah. Okay. Oh, does he? Tim Walz, life coach and advisor. So he's like a mentor to the fucking douchiest guy to ever fucking run for vice president.
Do we want to listen to this video?
Kind of. Yeah. Oh, this. That was, oh my God, was that cringy?
Fuck.
I couldn't read any of those things that he was pointing to, but
it said $1,400 checks, money for vaccines, safe school reopenings, unemployment insurance boosts, aid for local governments, and mortgage and rental assistance.
Thanks President Biden. Yeah.
Help us here.
Okay. Yeah, I nailed that one. And spectacular fashion, 4 years later, Donald Trump is back in office. So thank you, President Biden.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, things are looking up for the DNC next couple of years. You got David Hogg, the fucking... I can't believe that guy is still in the public eye. Like, he really fucking rode the coattails of a school shooting to start it. He wasn't even at the fucking school, right?
Right. Okay. So I was reading a thread on Twitter. Like it was like a 3 or 4 part thread this morning about how David Hogg wasn't at the school when it happened. He never really came back to school after it happened. He just spent the rest of the school year like pimping himself out to MSNBC and CNN and all the other like network news stations. Like it was detailing like other stuff about him and shit that he's done since then. And as I'm in the middle of reading it, it disappears. Like the thing that was before it and the thing that was after it were still there, but the thread just vanished while I'm sitting there trying to read it. It was nuts. Which there was some of it that was going into how other schoolmates of theirs have called out and pointed out that he wasn't at the school and talked about some of this same stuff. And then later went on like the big networks and recanted and said, I might have been, I was wrong. He was actually there. And some of the, like what happened with those folks, why those folks, like there's, so that, there's a lot of suspicion that he's like, that David Hogg's a Fed. His dad's a Fed. Legitimately, like 100% his dad is a Fed. And so there's that he's like, he's a plant, he's a Fed, he's like in on it, and there's a reason. And some of these people who came back and recanted their stories and said that, well, actually he was actually there at the school, got pressured by Feds to do that, to try to validate his story. And I mean, like I said, if I'm in the middle of reading this thing, it fucking just disappears. That makes it all the more crazy.
That's some Orwellian shit.
Like I looked dead at Stephanie. I was like, I was just in the middle of reading a thread that just vanished. She's like, what do you mean it vanished? I was like, it was right here on my screen and now it's not. Like, it's gone. It's just like left.
That's pretty crazy. I remember seeing like a YouTube video of it was like an interview that he was doing with like 2 or 3 other students. And I'm pretty sure he was talking about was he the Parkland? Was that him? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what they were talking about, but maybe it was a different school shooting. But he was like, yeah, you know, I was at home. I got on my bike. I rode 3 hours to school so I could start filming it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, dude, you weren't even there? Weren't even there. You fucking AOC'd it. You weren't even in the fucking building. God damn, dude. And so unless he's talking in that clip, because they didn't really identify, but he looked like super young too. Like it wasn't like a recent thing. This was like from many, many years ago.
Yeah.
So unless he was talking about like getting on his bike and driving to a different school shooting just so that he could be there and film it because he's a fucking leech. I guess that's possible, but it's more likely that he was talking about that day and he hadn't really figured out his whole plan of attack for this. A lifetime built on the backs of how many kids were killed there? It was like 20 something.
Yeah.
17, 20. A lot.
Yeah, it was a bunch.
Anyway, yeah, just really obnoxious, fucking insufferable retard that we're gonna have to just maybe put the final nail in the coffin of the DNC. Because I couldn't imagine a better team. I mean, they just nailed it. You know, I really thought Kamala had that it factor. Before that, it was Beto O'Rourke. Now it's David Hogg and the life coach and advisor to Tim Walz. Did he tell him to kick like a fucking spazzy retard, or like that wasn't part of his advice? Unbelievable.
Who knows? Who knows? This is a liberal life coach, so
yeah. God, he looks younger than Waltz too. Why is Waltz taking advice from somebody who's like 20 years younger than him?
Well, there were a lot of rumors about Walz and some drunken escapades and fooling around with former students and stuff like that. So yeah, he might have needed some life advice from like literally anybody. Although I don't feel like it's like something that you need advised to you to like don't diddle your students. But
should go without saying,
right? You would assume, but I mean, teachers these days.
Yeah. These kids these days, a lot of these kids get to bang their hot teachers, man. Must be nice. I didn't have any. You've seen those memes where it's like gym teachers like today, and then the gym teachers when I was a kid, it's like a picture of like fucking Sylvester Stallone or something.
Right. Or Mel Gibson like wearing a tank top.
Yeah.
Like when Mel Gibson had like the mullet. Like yeah, that's 100% what my gym every gym teacher I had, either the men or the women. That's exactly what they look like.
Mullet. Yeah. Yep, 100%. Yeah, the 90s. Last great decade.
Did y'all have corporal punishment in the school? And like the gym teacher had a big ass paddle like hanging on their wall. Like if you had to get a spanking, they sent you to the gym teacher. The gym teacher would stop in the middle of class to beat somebody's ass and then send them back to whatever class they came from. Like, and all the rest of us like that are in the gym have to just stop what we're doing and wait while the gym teacher whoops the fuck out of this kid and then sends them back. And then it's like, okay, go back to playing dodgeball or whatever. Like,
no, we did not have that.
Oh, you see,
that's some
you should have grown up
right there.
You should have grown up a little more rurally. Then you really would have gotten some good gym teacher experiences.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get out of here on that. So we're coming up on time. I know you got to go. Did we get through everything?
Yeah, I think so. Roundaboutly, we covered everything. We didn't actually pull up all of the articles, but we talked about everything that we had on the docket for today. I think there's some more stuff that we can talk about with different Trump executive orders, and I'm not sure who all is on the docket for.
I saw. I think RFKJ passed his Senate confirmation hearing, right? Did he get
Oh, no.
confirmed?
Let's see.
I think he did.
I don't know. I'm trying to find. I had like a tracker for that for who had and hadn't been confirmed, but I don't. It doesn't look like it's been updated. So I'll try to find it. We'll talk about more. We can talk about more of that.
I'm pretty sure he passed the Senate. So, yeah, I don't know. Still don't think it's looking good for Tulsi, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. You got anything else going on this week?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, then I guess until Friday, folks, thank you all so very much for listening. And until then, you know what to do. Just keep on peddling that so-called fiction. Peace.